Do you get nervous meeting somebody for the first time that you met through online dating? If so, this video is for you. What's good everyone, Mario here. In this video, I want to speak to my online daters out there who get nervous before meeting somebody in person for the first time. You see, you've done the hard job, you've developed the connection, and you've set up the first meet. But when you actually get to the day of the first meet, you're pretty nervous, you're a bundle of anxiety and nerves, and you know it just doesn't help you to be your best that day. So what I want to do in this video is offer you some perspective and some reality about this that makes you feel better, that makes you feel more relaxed and even excited about this opportunity. So we're going to get into that, but first, let me remind you that if you're not fully satisfied with your current love life experiences online or in person, that I invite you to join my free Love Life Academy for free video lessons and other opportunities and resources that we send to you that are all designed to help you level up your game and your love life. So if you're really serious about making a positive impact in that aspect of your life, click the link in the description because we'd love to have you. All right, so let's get into this. With online dating, yeah, first meets are pretty nerve-wracking, a lot of pressure, but what I want to share with you is some perspective and some knowledge that really allows you to kind of settle down and relax and better be your best self in front of that person. Let them see who you really are because it's not covered up with all your nerves and anxiety, all right? So the first thing that will really, I think, help shift your perspective is to understand all the checkpoints that you've truly passed already. Because the way I see it, you've passed all these markers that were positive and were basically approval that you need to just be recognizing and saying, that was good. So understand this. Along your online dating journey, your process, you probably matched with them and they mutually matched with you. So bam, that's a yes that you got. Then maybe you messaged them first and they responded, or they were interested in you enough to message you first. Well, that's basically more approval, another yes. And then at any point, the conversation could have fizzled, but it didn't. Instead, you maintained the conversation, and the both of you found value in it. And at any point in time, you could have pulled the plug or somebody could have gone ghost and they didn't owe anybody anything. They could have just walked away, but they didn't. So instead, that's another yes. And then, after maintaining the conversation, probably at some point, you leveled up to a more intimate form of communication. Maybe you asked for a phone number and you got it. Another yes. Then you're texting. That's another yes. And then when you have a phone call, that's another yes. Maybe even you got into a video chat. That's another yes. All those are yeses. And when you maintain those, that's someone that is just displaying continued approval of you. So every one of those steps, someone could have been like, yeah, I just figured it out. We don't really have a connection, at least not on my end. So thanks, but no thanks. You got none of those and you went through process, process, process. Every last one of them, you got a yes, you got approval. That has to make you feel real good. And I know that so many of you out there don't think about that. Because when I'm speaking to people that I work with, they're like, oh yeah, fuck, that does make sense. Like, I do have all these indicators of interest. It's fucking awesome. So I should feel more confident in myself. I'm like, yes. They've liked whoever they've been interacting with. So just keep on doing that. You don't have to be so nervous. Just give them more of what they've been receiving in person. All right. Now the next shift that can really impact your perspective is understanding that you get to meet on your terms. That means you get to meet in the way that you're comfortable. In all the ways that you're comfortable, you can create if you're conducting a first meet the right way, because you shouldn't be doing anything that you're uncomfortable with, anything that doesn't feel right to you. You always have the opportunity to say no or suggest a different sort of plan of action. So in all of these, you can say no or adjust it to become something that you're comfortable with. All right. For example, time. You don't have to, meet at a time that you're uncomfortable with. A great example would be like saying, well, if somebody invites you after work for whatever at 5:30, well, you get off of work at 5 and you could get there at 5:30, but you would be rushed and you might be sweaty, you might have your work clothes on, and it's just not the best for you. Well, what you can do is take control of the time, and if you're not comfortable with 5:30, don't show up and be uncomfortable and rushed and sweaty and thinking, do my armpits swell? Am I sweaty? They're seeing me in my work clothes. I wish had some time to just kind of decompress after work and kind of relax before I met this person. Well, you should say something. You should say, well, I get off of work at 5, but I really need to get home and handle some things. I could probably meet you around 7, 7:30. How's that sound? See, how you get to be in charge of time. All right. So you don't have to show up somewhere where you feel rushed or uncomfortable. You also get to be in charge of the place. All right. And the place can be a location that you're comfortable with that environment or you're comfortable with where that location is. So you don't necessarily have to drive somewhere that's 45 minutes across the city if you don't want to. You could say that's like a 45-minute drive. How about this spot? It's about 20 minutes away and it looks like it's about 20 minutes away from you too, from your location. So how about that? You can be in charge of a location that works for you, not just in environment, but also in distance, time commuting. All right, the activity, whatever this activity is going to be, you can sign off on it, or you could say, actually, I fucking hate coffee. I don't want to do that, or I don't drink. Can we do something else? And maybe offer a suggestion or listen to theirs. But if you don't like the activity, you don't have to participate in it. Just say no, or just say like, yeah, it's not my favorite thing. And also, you get to be in charge of the investment of your time, energy, and money. All right. That's your investment. All right. How long the date is going to be is up to you. If it's even a date, it might be just the first meet, which is very brief. You can say like, well, I can meet you from like 7 to 8ish, but after that I'll have to get home. But we could definitely connect for like a drink or whatever. That's perfectly enough time. You get to be in charge of that your investment of time. You don't have to give somebody all 4 hours of your evening if you don't want to. All right, you can also make sure that the activity isn't too expensive, because the greater the investment, sometimes the greater the pressure, the greater the expectations of someone else. So time, energy, financial income or investment, those are all things that you get to say like, I'm not comfortable with this, or how about this? All right. And also, I always recommend, like, hey, if you're going to go to this first meet, what makes a lot of people feel comfortable is you should be using your own transportation. I don't care if you have a car, you drive your own car, but if you don't, you take your own transportation and provide your own way home. That way, no matter what the outcome of your first meet, whether you really hit it off or whether you don't, you feel like you can leave at any point in time because you can. You're not dependent upon anyone, and that allows you to really relax and just appreciate somebody without thinking, I don't want to say something to piss them off because they're my ride home, and you don't necessarily want to give somebody your home address that quickly. And again, also, you get to be in charge of money, but here's money in a different way. I always try and remind people that bring enough money that you can pay for yourself. Because if you don't enjoy the experience or you just want to call it off early, you could pay for your half and you can say, thanks, and I really appreciate it, but I'm just not feeling this. And then you can also pay for your half and feel good about it. And there's nothing wrong with walking away from a first meet if you establish that the connection just wasn't there in person. It happens. You don't have to stick around and be uncomfortable and unhappy and endure it. All right. You don't have to do that. You always get to leave. And that's maybe the biggest sort of way of meeting on your own terms, the biggest overlying sort of message about meeting on your own terms. Not all these categories, but knowing you can leave on your own terms. You can leave whenever you want. It's up to you. And you can also stick around. And you can also, this again, one more yes. If you stick around, that's another yes. All right. So I want you to understand that I get it. When you meet somebody in person for the first time, it can be so much pressure, so much anxiety, but I want to help you drop that some, if not a ton, by reminding you of all these yeses at all these checkpoints and also reminding you, like, hey, set this meetup the way that works for you on your terms. When you do that, you're better able to be yourself. And when you're better able to be yourself, people are better able to appreciate you and hopefully connect with you if it's a mutual connection. All right. So remember those. If there are other sort of reminders that we need to be thinking about, definitely throw those in the comments and add to the input that we have. And I want you all to remember, if you want better results, you got to become better. You all take care. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. If you appreciated the content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you're ready to level up your love life, take 30 seconds to visit my website right now. Join my free academy. I'll send you exclusive content and invitations to participate in my online group conference calls. And if you're ready for serious change, sign up for a free barrier breakthrough phone call with me.